Hello, my name is Chigozie Joko, and today I'm going to be taking you through a very important process as a wholesale or a retail business owner. Now, as wholesale or retail businesses, one of the key process that you typically would engage in is the process of purchasing items from your suppliers for your business. Now, it is assumed that you might have a supplier that is a manufacturer, you might have a supplier that is an importer, you might even have your suppliers as people that sell in the open market. So whoever your suppliers are, you can actually record the process of buying those products from them and recording it inside your inventory. And today, Afiari is able to help you to handle those processes, and this is why we want to show you how to do it on this application. So let's get started. The first thing that you want to do is obviously you have gone to merchant.afiari.com, you will log into your account as I've done, and you will come to this business environment. Now you will go into the particular store that you want to purchase items for, and so I will click on it, and then you see that we have a couple of options here. One of the options that we have is the suppliers option. Now, as a model, if you do not have any supplier, just like this business that I'm using to show you in this video, you would need to then create your suppliers. So you might be a distributor that has suppliers as FMCG companies, or you have manufacturers as your suppliers, or you even have independent people that produce products at small scale as people that supply you those goods. So you need to document who those suppliers are. And to record your suppliers, how you are going to do it is to click on the Add New Supplier button at the top left of the screen. So when I click on top right, rather, Add New Supplier, then I would put the supplier name, right? So let me say I am buying this product from maybe Olam Agric, for example. I'm going to put any email for now as a test, and then I'll put a phone number. So I'm just going to put any phone number, right? And then I'll also put another phone number as WhatsApp. And then the next is to put the business address. So the business address, you just fill in wherever the business is actually operating out from. So I'm going to just put Costain, Lagos. And then finally, this CAC ID is if maybe you're working with suppliers that are registered, but it's not a compulsory field. So if you do not have that, you can just go ahead and click on save. So once I click on save, it will then save that supplier, right? And you can see the notification that a new supplier has been added to my account. Now, another option that you can take will be to add the supplier via the multiple suppliers option. So in this case, what you're just going to do will be to download the templates. It's an Excel template that we have that will still bring up all these fields as a table. And then you fill that document, save it, and re-upload it back to the application. So for this video, I'm just going to limit it to the single supplier process. Now, once you have added your supplier, the next thing that you want to do is to go down to the inventory module, and you can do one of two things. You can either go through the requisition channel or you go to the purchase order channel. Now, the requisition channel is a process where you just want to find out from your supplier if a certain product is available or and how much they are selling those products for. It does not mean that when you fill the requisition that you have actually bought that product or you have made that purchase. So when I click on create requisition, what it will ask me for will be to select the supplier I want to get it from. So I'm going to use the supplier. And then it will ask me for the stock type. What kind of stock am I looking for? Is it a wholesale stock or a retail stock? So I'll choose the wholesale component, and then it will ask me for the product name. I do not have any product registered yet, but I can actually create a new product by adding it here. So when I create a new product, maybe I want to buy, for example, I'm just going to use any name that comes to my head right now. So maybe I want to buy maize feed, for example, um, 10 kg, and then I click on it, I add it, and then for description, I'll just put the same thing, maize feed. And then in this case, I'll have to fill the quantity. How many of this product do I want to buy? Maybe I want to buy 10 bags, all right? And then I've already put the size as 10 kg. So when I add it to my list, it goes into this list here. And once I submit it, what will happen is it will send an email address, I mean, an email message to the supplier notifying them that they have a new request, right? Now, I'm not going to go through this process because I did not put a real email address, right? But once you submit it, they'll get an email and then they can confirm. And once they confirm, it will come back to you to say, these products are available and this is how much we are selling it for. But the real process that we want to follow through today is the purchase order process, right? Now, before you can buy any item, to make your business more organized, you need to be able to track all the different purchases that you've made. And the way you can track the purchases that you made is by creating purchase orders for all of those purchases, right? And you can see who you have been buying items from, how much you bought them, and a proper history or a documentation of all the purchases that you've made in that store. So in this case, I'm going to start by creating a purchase order. So let me click on create a purchase order. Then once I click on it, I'll select the supplier. Then I can enter a supply code. This is just a an optional field where maybe you want to be able to link up your purchase order with the purchase order from your supplier, right? There are cases where maybe as a manufacturer, they give you a delivery note or they give you a way bill or they give you a purchase order, and those orders have their own numbers, right? So if you want to be able to link that to the one you're creating in-house in your store, you can do that. But if you do not have that, then you can just continue. So the next will be to select the stock type. So I'm going to choose the wholesale. And then product name, I would just create that maize product I wanted to create. I add it as an item and I'll select it. Then I'll repeat that as the description of the product. And I want to buy 10 bags as the quantity, and then the size is 10 kg. Now, the cost price is how much you're buying one bag. That's what the cost price here is. So let me say I'm buying one bag for 5,000 naira. And the unit per wholesale means how many items do you have in one bag. So maybe I'm buying this feed and it has maybe 10 packs inside one bag, right? So this one bag of 10 kg would have 10 packs inside of it. So the unit per wholesale will be 10, which is the 10 packs that we have inside that bag. So think about if you're selling drinks, for example, that would be how many bottles of drinks inside one pack or inside one crate. If you're selling maybe noodles, it will be how many packs of noodles inside one carton, or whatever it is that you're selling. The unit for wholesale is how many of those products do you have in one pack, one bag, one carton, or one pack of that product. And then the cost per unit will now be how much you are selling or you are buying each of those units, right? So I'm just going to use 500 in this case as the cost. So I'll click on add to list and it has now come up on this my purchase order items, and then I would submit it. So once I click on submit, it's going to create a purchase order for me. And as you can see, I have the notification here that a new purchase order has just been created. I'll close that in and then you'd see the list of the items that you've bought. Now, there are certain options that you can take from here. This item has just been purchased, but it has not yet been added to your inventory. Okay, so there are cases where maybe you've ordered the products from the supplier. Before it comes, you've already created the purchase order waiting for it to come. And once it comes in, you confirm the items that what they have brought is the same as what you've ordered for in terms of quantity and even quality. And then you can go ahead to accept it into your inventory. So that is like the same way we have it here, where once you create the purchase order, you can even view this purchase order. So I can view the purchase order to show you what it looks like. So this is what the purchase order looks like. It tells you the name of the business, the supplier that is coming from, the date, the number of this purchase order, the address, and the items that you have bought, right? So 10 cartons, you have 5,000 naira for each carton, and then the total is 50,000 naira. So that is what you have here as the final amount. Then I'll come back to my purchase order page. And so let me assume that the products have come in and then they are good. The next thing I can do will be to accept the order into my inventory. So in accepting the order, this is where you will now put information such as the category, the cost, the selling prices, the reorder point, and all of that. So let me just choose any random category here, right? And then for the selling price, I bought the item for 5,000 and I want to sell it for 8,000. So if I put 8,000 here, you can see that it has automatically calculated the percentage markup, which is 60%, right? If, for example, I don't want to sell it for 50%, I only want to sell it for 40%. Once I change the percentage markup, it will also update the selling price for me automatically. And then the other point is the point where the product, you've sold this product to a point where it has now gone low in your stock and you want it to notify you once it has gone below that number, right? So from that number and below, that is where you should reorder that product. And that's what we mean by reorder point. So if I'm buying 10 cartons, I want to know once it's two, right? So I can reorder it. So I'll put two here. And the units reorder point is also automatically calculated based on the number of units inside one carton. So if there are 10 units inside one carton and I'm doing two cartons, it's also calculating the reorder point for the unit level to be 20. The barcode is optional, and then I can put the unit selling price or markup. Again, maybe I want to do 40% here, and 500 naira as the cost price will now be calculated as 700 as the selling price. This checkbox here is if I do not want the customers to see another item as VAT on their receipt, I want them to only, I want to put my VAT in my selling price and let them just see that as the final price. I will check this box. But if I want to separate the VAT, which is the VAT or the tax, from the selling price so that they will see the selling price and also see the tax separate from the selling price, I will uncheck it. So whichever one I want to do, and that is the option I'm going to take. So in this case, I want to add my VAT into my selling price. So I'm just going to check this box and then I will accept it, right? So the moment I click on accept, the status will, show me that that purchase order has been accepted and of course completed, right? So the completed status means that this product is now in my inventory. And from now on, I can begin to sell the product. The way to check if it is your inventory is to come to the stock manager. And when you look at the stock manager, you now see the stock count. As you can see, there's a spike here, which shows me the item that I've just added. And it also show you the products that you have here. Subsequent videos, I'm going to show you how to navigate the stock manager. But right now, I guess we've come to the end of this video because we wanted to show you how to make a purchase. And I hope you've understood the process. Thank you very much and see you in the next one.